I've done it. I've finished Realm of the Elderlings. I've finally finished reading Assassin's Fate. Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's Jose here again, welcoming you to another episode of Jose's Amazing Worlds with rebranding thing to make it easier to appear on YouTube. And welcome, I am going to be discussing the Fitz and the Fool Trilogy, which is the last trilogy in the Realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb. And this is going to be a review slash discussion slash warning spoilers on this final trilogy in the whole series. And I will do a full series review at some point in the future. I probably also know I won't be touching upon everything that I thought about while reading these books, possibly to save them, possibly because it will make more sense to have them in some sort of long form chat conversation with other people, possibly the one and only Derry, because she knows everything there is to know about this series and she usually does shed some light into things I miss, and she's read it so many times that it's always very nice and a delight to have her talking about Elderlings. But anyway, here we go. So I've got my notes here, so I'm going to be every now and then looking, because I want to make sure I discuss all the things that popped into my head as I sat down and took notes before the review. So Fitz and the Fool Trilogy is made up of Fool's Assassin, published in 2014, Fool's Quest 2015, and Assassin's Fate in 2017. Now, the first book, Fool's Assassin, I'm gonna be honest, it's all set up. It's the whole book, and it's a chunky book that one there. It's about 600 pages where nothing happens. This is just Fitz. This is all Fitz. He's finally together with Molly. This is many years after the events of the Tonyman trilogy, and he's just sort of the lord of some state, some manor, somewhere in the Six Duchies, enjoying his pre-retirement. And that's the whole book. Now, couple of things I found with this one here is that so Fitz seems to be he's turned a bit stupid all of a sudden, because he's the lord of this manor, and then one night this mysterious messenger comes with an urgent message for him, and he's like, oh yeah, I'll go and see him later because I'm just too busy with some party that he's hosting. And then that messenger gets killed or disappears or something, and it's like, that's fairly out of character from what we know about Fitz. He was a trained assassin, spy, whatever you want to call it, and don't know, a little bit weird, a little bit unnecessary for tension building there. We are introduced to B, so this is Fitz's and Molly's weird child. Very weird. It's a weird concept, because Molly is like this sort of menopausal or postmenopausal woman. She's, we're told in the book her childbearing years are over, and she starts saying that she's pregnant, but after 1 year there's no baby, and everyone thinks that she's losing her mind. And then 2 years after she says she's pregnant, this tiny baby appears, and it's like this weird. There's a weird concept there. We don't quite know what's going on. And then sort of we see Fitz trying to be a dad after Molly's death, raising this very peculiar child bee, which is lots of learning difficulties, although she's very bright. But anyway, sort of Fitz constantly failing to be a proper father and sort of provide for her. And basically at the end of the book, she gets captured. So a bit weird, because at the same time, so the Fool comes back, and something happens, and so Fitz takes the Fool to back castle, and then he leaves the child in the care of the people of the state, and she gets captured by this white prophets thing, and that the book ends there. The second book, Fool's Quest, is meant to be, well, Fitz knows her daughter has been captured. He's meant to go and rescue her, and he spends the whole book preparing to rescue her. Like, there's no sense of urgency there. Sort of, Again, this sort of notion that he's failing her as a father, and we just follow B and how she's being mistreated and used and abused as the people have captured her, take her back to the weird mythical island of Clares, pronunciation unknown, which is where the white prophets come from. And then finally, Assassin's Fate, 800 pages, is where everything comes together. And when I say everything, I mean everything. The whole realm of the Elderlings comes together in the final book there, 852 pages, everything. Right, so fundamentally, so there's a rescue party. They go to Clares and they rescue B. That's what I'm going to say for now. Now, again, there's a couple of things here that I was slightly dubious about. So fundamentally, in book 2, Fitz and the Fool spend the whole time trying to figure out who this prophesied unexpected son is. And I found at times I was screaming at the page, because every time they're going to put one on one together, they just drop the conversation. Maybe a bird flies across the window and they get distracted, and it's like, oh, come on guys, like it's so obvious. And I don't know, they've been both particularly stupid here in book 2. Then the geography of the world here is a little bit suspect, because if you look at the map in Elderlings, all that Fitz and the Fool need to do is take a boat and just travel south just travel south. But what they do instead is they go through the skill pillars and they sort of ping around the world. So they end up going back to Kelsingra quite conveniently, so we can then meet up with the Elderlings that we left in Rainwild Chronicles, and we encounter all those characters from there, and then they seek passage down the river, the Rainwild River, to Bingtown, so the traders people, and then quite conveniently we meet with Althea and Brushen and the Paragon and the Vivacia lightships from Lightship Traders, the second trilogy. So everything is coming together, and the pirate Kenneth's son and Althea and Brushen. So all these characters quite conveniently come together, and everyone gets a send-off of sorts. So all their destinies, everything is explained there. Everything is explained, including, this was one of my pet hates in the previous series, the Others Island. We finally get told on the page what the Others are, what they do there. I was still a bit disappointed I never understood their motivation. Like, we know who these people are, we know what they've done, why they are there in the Others Island, but what motivates them to help people, tell them the future, foretelling what may or may not happen? I don't know, that's the one thing I need clarification. If anyone knows, comment below. Now, there's a couple more things that I'm not entirely sure about. So the connection between the magic of the skill in the Farseer family and the dragon's silver, which is the sort of metal liquidy thing that the dragons need to grow. There's a connection there. It's hinted at. It seems to be one and the same thing, but how and why, not entirely sure myself. Throughout the book, there's still themes about gender identity and all the stuff. But at this stage, those themes I think have been explored so much before, and it's a well-trodden path here. What is the Fool? Is he a male, female, something in between? There's a couple of times where there's references to stripping him off, and he doesn't want to be stripped, so we don't know what's happening there. I don't know. And even throughout the writing of the book, he's indifferently referred to as Amber, which is his sort of persona that we saw in Lightship Traders, which I missed, and the Fool, and sometimes he's something else. So, and then, Fitz is not entirely comfortable. He doesn't quite like her when the Fool presents himself as Amber, that some people only know him in that guise, and they refer to him like, it's all, yeah, it's interesting. Now, I've mentioned this before, and I'm going to say it again. Now, no one in the right mind would call Robin Hobb a grimdark style author. But in the past I've said she's not grimdark, but she does write some pretty grim and dark stuff. I think I'm going to go so far as to make the claim that Robin Hobb is a grimdark author.
Get the fuck out of here.
Because in the 6 Joe Abercrombie books I've read, he's not written some of the stuff that Robin Hobb has written on the page there. So, in book 2 of this trilogy, there's rape all around. It's just happening all the time. The violence and the gore that goes on there. I don't think, like I said, Abercrombie has written anything like that. To the point, and it's so casual, and it's so like, meh. There's this man gets raped, raped, and the trauma of everything. He becomes an alcoholic and it's just casually, oh yeah, he got raped. No, he's an alcoholic. Let's move on with, and what? Wow! Just like in 2 lines, we drop with that horrendous piece, and we just move on. Let's continue with the story. Really, and it's grimdark. If there's anything grim and dark that I've ever read, is probably condensed in book 2 of this trilogy. Now, the ending. I'm going to go into spoiler territory here as well. It's not so much foreshadowed as it is foretold, because for someone like me to pick up on this, I've realized I'm not the most attention to detail paying person in the world. It's not a case of when Fitz is going to die. Sorry, it's not a case of if Fitz is going to die. It's a case of when he is going to die. And there's a couple of false endings there that I'm not entirely sure are necessary. There's a moment where he's going to, he's prepared to do one final stand to defend everyone, and everyone's like, everyone says goodbye, and then as soon as you turn the page, no, they're coming back to rescue. No, come on, let's all go together. And that happens a couple of times, and I don't know. I am perfectly okay with the ending of the series. I think from my reading experience, finishing a long series is in a satisfying manner is difficult. I've seen more failures than successes, and I will call this one a success. Now, it may not be the ending that some people like or want, but it is certainly one that makes perfect sense in the context and the concept of what Realm of the Elderlings is. So with that, I'm very happy. I'm okay. It's as usual. It's very well executed. Robin Hobb, fantastically accomplished writer, and at this stage, the fact that book 1 is 600 pages of setup. If you got this far, it's because you like the series. Otherwise, you would have given up a long time ago. So you don't mind this so much, and that's what Robin Hobb does. She takes her time when she's introducing new fundamental characters to the series, like B, that she is going to give them the motivations. They have to be fully in control and ownership of their actions and how they respond to things in a manner that is consistent with the internal structure of the story and the character that she has created. So you have to take that in. And, don't mind it so much. Book 1 is a fantasy book? Probably not. But it is a necessary stepping stone to the rest of the trilogy. There's probably a few more things I could have said. There's probably a few more things I could talk about. But this is it. That now it's completed. That was one of my objectives for the year, to finish this. I'm very glad I've read the whole Realm of the Elderlings series. When I started and I read the first 3, I was a little bit like, I think it's a 6 out of 10. I think throughout the series, the whole thing has been elevated. and maybe perhaps now it'll be one of my top 5 all-time favorite series. And I think I'll definitely be revisiting possibly Live Ship Traders. Not anytime soon. Not in the next 5 years or so. But there is very good material there, or certainly something I most definitely enjoyed, and I would like to come back at some point in the future. But anyway, this is all I have for today. As usual, thank you ever so much for watching. If you haven't done so, 70% of you are watching videos and are not subscribing, so please hit the button below. Take lots and lots of care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.